can we do but get through? And we'll sing hallelujah, but what is that to you right now? But let's talk in a way that can give us some faith to go around. We'll hold tight as we can when it's better again, and that'll sustain me for now. My friend, when we're together again, together again, when we're together again. When we're together again.
What up? What up? What up? What is good, Papa Phil of viewers at home and OTG_Lucas? What's going on, y'all? What's good?
Another great day.
I'm going to answer that. I'll tell you what's good.
Tell me.
This podcast is going to be good.
Oh,
Look at these notes I got right here.
Empty.
Lucas, you see these bad boys? Look, those are the truth right there.
Oh, I'm ready for this one because you've been telling me that we need to talk about this for a while. And I don't know what's going on, but I know a little bit. But.
So this is one of those. There's a handful of shows in our 20-something shows we've recorded that Phil has no idea. I mean, there's a couple that
there's a subject.
Yeah, I told him about a subject I wanted to talk about, and he was like, "Cool, I'll come over and we'll do a podcast on it." And we literally wait to discuss it until we're on camera. And so this is one of those days where I was like, hey, this is something that's really been on my mind. I want to talk about it. Let's have a podcast. And he's like, cool. So there hasn't been any dialogue,
no discussion
back and forth about, how it's going to work or what we're going to discuss. And, I like those shows, man. I feel like those are a little more authentic, I guess.
Yeah. You get a more of a real reaction and a real discussion of what,
right.
Like us just as friends,
yeah,
talking about stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is a big part that we started the show in the first place, right?
Yeah, well, yeah. So. Well, we were kind of at the gym one day, and I was like, dude, there should be a cameraman that follows us around all the time and records all the shit that we do, and records Lucas being loud in the background.
Well, that's being done right now, so we fulfilled on that part.
Yeah. No, man. So this is something that's kind of evolved. It's been weighing on me since earlier this month. And I'll give you a quick I'll give you quick why I started thinking about these things, and then we'll kind of go into the backstory and how I got to where I'm at right now. So, as y'all know, and the listeners know that have listened to the podcast. All of the episodes are hundreds of millions of fans at home. And Lucas being loud in the background again. But you know what the thing is about these are noise canceling. The people listening probably can't hear them,
I don't know
but
if
we
can.
can.
Or not. Yeah,
so
I'm not sure.
Really, he's probably get away with it, but I want to call him out. But Jack, man,
your dog,
my dog.
Yeah.
Like I said, the people who have been listening in for a while, he was our first ever guest. He was our first ever
Jack was the first guest.
He wasn't on the show, but he was in the room when we recorded. Mm-hmm. And Jack was a dog that we got from a rescue. That was in a really, really bad situation. He had a really badly broken leg. He was extremely malnourished to the point of almost starvation. He had heartworms. He had all kinds of problems, man. He was really beat up. Mm-hmm. And the shelter was going to euthanize him because he had been there too long. So rescue saved him from the euthanasia list. I think that's the word. Euthanization. Euthanasia. Maybe we can put that on the screen. Lucas can clip that baby
You got to spell it.
Yeah. Youth. It's EU. Anyway, I don't know. I don't want to get into it because I sound like an idiot. He was on the list. The rescue at Blue River Animal Rescue on Instagram. Check them out. They're awesome. The owner of the rescue saved Jack from the euthanasia list. And basically she posted and she's like, hey, we need a foster for this dog. We've saved him from the euthanasia list. He's in really bad shape, but we need somebody to foster him until we can get him a permanent home. And I didn't see it, actually. Jess saw it first, and she shows me. She's like, hey, this dog, he's really in a bad spot, and he's in a lot of trouble. And, I'd like to foster him. And at first I was apprehensive because, we didn't know if he had any kind of aggression issues or, if he was house trained or if he would get along with our dogs and so forth, right? So I was like, I don't know, babe. And within a few minutes, we agreed that we should go get him. So we get him, and fast forward like a few days into having him, and we fall in love with this dude. And it was very quickly turning into a situation where he was no longer going to be a foster. We were just going to adopt him outright. As time went on, we got to that. So I fell in love with Jack. We got him on November 1st, 2021. And on January 3rd, I'm not going to get into all the details, but we had to put him down. He had a tumor on his spine. He had bone cancer on his spine, and he was in a lot of pain, and he was just getting to the point where he couldn't, he really couldn't function well, right? So we ended up having to put him down, and man, I was so Jessica and I both were so heartbroken. I actually told her to come on this podcast, and she declined because I don't think that she could talk about it without crying. And I'm on the brink too, but I'm going to hold it together for the viewers at home. Hundreds of millions of them watching me. And when we had to put Jack down, it really took a toll on us. It really broke our hearts. That was January 3rd, so 3-4 weeks ago. We had to put him down. And it really, really broke my heart. And I'm somebody who really tries, at this point in my life, I haven't always even thought this way or tried to be this way. I try not to really I try to really act on rationale and
act on emotion.
Not act on emotion.
I'm reading
right?
a book right now about that.
Yeah, so it's okay to feel your emotions, right? You're going to get angry, mad, sad. We're all humans. We're going to feel all the different emotions, but try to be a little more subjective, like in the way that you don't, just because something makes me mad in that moment, I'm not going to attack somebody. I'm not going to, just because, Jessica and I have a little disagreement, I'm not going to say something rude to her, right? Like, like just flare up, like emotional flare up.
Yeah, you recognize your emotion,
feel it,
5 or 10 seconds to feel it out, and then make a logical decision. Logical, not an emotional.
I've been looking for the word.
Yeah,
I've been looking for the word logical.
Write that down, and also write down Emotional Intelligence 2.0. That's the book that I'm reading right now.
Emotional.
Talks about exactly this.
Oh, okay. I have no idea there was a book on. I mean, there's pretty much a book on everything, probably, but I didn't know that. So I'm the type of person who I really try to be intentional about that now, because acting on emotion really never gets you. It's really never a good outcome whenever you do that. I've acted on emotion most of my life, and I try to be intentional about that now. So anyway, I tried to step back whenever I was heartbroken. We cried for days, and life goes on. You got to go back to work, and you got bills, and life goes on with or without your dog. And I've had other losses in my life, but this one is fresh, right? And I was just really tore up about it. So a couple days went by, and I was really struggling to get past it, right? To move forward and just kind of be happy. And so I started to just write. I got on the notes app on my phone and just kind of started typing how I felt, just kind of like almost like journaling it. just putting it down on the page, what I was thinking. And at first it was kind of like this sporadic list of thoughts and emotions that, I was, kind of going through at that moment. And it turned into me typing. It turned into me stepping back and saying, because I found that I was typing some positive things on my phone. Like I was like, I learned a lot of things from Jack in such a short amount of time, and I was typing these things, and I think that's why it hurt so much. And I was like, "There's good in here," so I stepped back and I tried to view it from a different perspective, and try to see it as in from a place of gratitude. And I'm very grateful for having had Jack for the 2 months, literally like 2 months and a couple days that we had him, right? And it, I was so grateful for a lot of things, but mostly the lessons that he taught me. That's what the show's about. That's what I'm going to get into here in a minute.
Okay.
But I kind of wanted to build up to this. And whenever you step back and you look at things objectively and you don't think about your emotion, you think about it logically, a lot of times you can realize that the good in your life in general, the good outweighs the bad tenfold typically. I know for damn sure in my life it does. And it's so easy to get caught up on those small things. And Jack not dying wasn't a small thing, but it's so easy to get caught up on negative things that happen in your life. And you forget about the positive things and the lessons that you learned and the happiness that you've had, despite, these handful of bad things that have happened, right? Because everybody goes through tough times in their life. So anyhow, it turned into, and this was like a live note. At first I was just typing everything, and then I started deleting things out and I started adding things, and it turned into, and I'm going to pull my phone out. I don't like to do this on the podcast at all, but this is where the notes are. It turned into 8 important life lessons that Jack taught me that I'm grateful for.
All right.
And it's really, I'm going to get into my diary a little bit here on the show. But the only person I've talked to this about at all has been Jessica.
Right.
And I don't even think she knows everything that's on this page, but she knows most of it. She knows kind of the idea what it morphed into. And this is over the course of several weeks. This has turned into this. And so I just want to talk about the 8 life lessons that Jack taught me. And the title of this episode, for any content editors that might be in the room, is going to be called Be More Like Jack.
All right. Well,
and so I have an opening to this, but I'm going to save it for, because this is actually going to eventually turn into a caption that I'm going to post something on Instagram when I find the right time and pictures that I want to post with it and everything. So I'm not going to read the opening, but I'm going to start with lesson number 1.
Okay.
This is a reminder to be more like Jack every day. So lesson number 1, and I'm going to read what I said. We'll discuss it. We'll go to the next one.
Okay.
So lesson number 1, Jack was a stray dog found tied to a pole in Houston. Once he upgraded to become a shelter dog, he sat in the shelter for over a month. He had been on the streets for God knows how long. I mean,
nobody knows.
He was probably older than 10. So, for God knows how long. He was starved, heartworm positive, had kennel cough, badly broken leg that had healed improperly. So it caused one of his back leg was actually a couple inches shorter than the other one. So he couldn't really use it. Where was that? So, broken back leg. He had broken teeth. So obviously, he'd been in some scuffles and whatnot, and several other injuries and issues. However, upon coming home with Jessica and I, he pretty quickly began to eat, play, gain weight, wag his tail, fight for his life, and show us love. Also, this is a little note put in here. This guy got, I think, hundreds of thousands of shares on TikTok, by the way. So look him up.
I remember you telling me about
Blue River
that.
Animal Rescue TikTok, I'm pretty sure. I want to say it got over maybe 200,000 views.
Yeah.
So there are multiple lessons here that I learned from this. Lesson number 1, never ever give up against all odds.
Is this all within the first of the 8?
This is all within. So, okay. So I guess there's 8 topics.
Okay.
And then lessons within those topics. Some of them are one lesson. Some of them are like 2 or 3.
Okay.
So, first, never ever give up against all odds. Second, no matter where you come from, despite what your background is or how your past played out, you can move forward, warm people's hearts, add value to others' lives, and you are worthy of love. Third, never think that you are above anybody. No matter who you are, you can learn something from everybody. So everybody on earth knows at least one thing you don't know is kind of what I'm getting at. I venture to say that everybody knows at least one thing you don't know. Fourth, never judge somebody based on outward appearance. Life treated Jack unfairly. He was beat up and rugged, but his heart was pure, loving, and kind. So basically, despite being this street dog, he had obviously been abused. He obviously had all these problems, but he came here when we brought him home. Yeah, he was kind of timid for a few days, and like within a day or two, he was happy. He was playing. He was eating. He was wagging his tail, and he trusted us. And so those are the lessons that we learned upon first meeting Jack, which I'm grateful for. So this is topic number 2. Any comments on that, Phil?
Man, I love it. I think that a lot of that is really relatable to people, as well. But
people, some people struggle with maybe not feeling worthy, or they feel like since they've had a rough past that they can't have a good future.
Or for me, it's more of externally, meaning that I see someone that looks a certain way. Let's make sure. You remember the other day? Sorry, I hit the microphone. But you remember the other day we were on our way to the gym, and we had a discussion kind of similar to this. In front of us was like this car.
Yeah.
This car.
I remember this.
Not a super nice car or anything.
I don't remember what kind of car it was.
I don't either, but they had a custom license plate. And
I popped off.
Yeah. And Darryl kind of like made a comment.
I was like,
I don't know what the word I'm looking for.
I was like, I said something about, can you believe those people pay for that license plate?
Kind of like a snarky comment. I don't know what you call it.
That license plate's dumb. You shouldn't pay for it.
Yeah. But
I'll never forget what you said to me, but carry on.
I don't remember exactly what I said.
You looked over it to me and you said, to them it's cool.
Yeah, bingo. Exactly.
And I felt like a complete idiot. This right here, this was already typed when we had that conversation.
So this is just a reiteration.
Yep.
Yeah. But that exact same thing. Don't, just because to you it doesn't make sense, or to you that person looks like they don't belong, or they can't be in this situation, or, just because maybe somebody's very wealthy and they just choose to not care about what clothes they wear. That's their decision, and it makes them happy.
Freedom.
And we shouldn't judge them for that.
Freedom. Whatever makes you happy.
And
whatever you think is cool.
And I think, thanks for taking that for me. But because I do that to people too. But that was just the example that came to my head with that license plate.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I didn't even think about that until just now. He looked at me and said, to them it's cool. And I was like, damn, he's right.
Yeah, because to that person,
they think it's cool.
It puts a smile on their face.
Good. I'm glad.
And I'm glad.
That's too.
Right. Yep.
So, that's kind of one thing. The first topic that I was typing that, Jack taught me lessons within. Topic number 2 out of 8. When we got Jack, he had obviously been mistreated by people and almost certainly been in several fights with other dogs. Despite this, he quickly and happily trusted me and Jessica. Additionally, he befriended Ruby, our girl dog. He befriended our Ruby and never showed her any signs of aggression. So he was, this dog that had probably been in several dog fights on the streets and so forth. And, not too long after we get him, we decide that he's happy. He seems very friendly. Hasn't shown any signs of aggression. We're going to try to introduce him. Instant best friends. Like he went up to her, he's wagging his tail, he's happy, and they played. They were good. To the best of his ability, he couldn't run very well and stuff because his leg was jacked up, but
he was having fun.
Yeah, she would run sprints around him, and he would just wag his tail and try to
spin
try
around.
to keep up with her, but he was too slow.
Right,
because Ruby's really fast.
Ruby's next.
She's
level.
like lightning. Yeah, she's an athlete. So he instantly loved her, and so. What's the lesson here? Never judge somebody based off of other people's actions. Everybody starts with a level playing field until they prove otherwise. So Jack didn't judge me and Jessica based off of people who had definitely mistreated him. He'd definitely, I mean, he was chained to a light post in Houston. Somebody mistreated the dog.
Another human being.
A human being.
That looks,
and
to him,
he was all,
just like
Jack
you.
was all scarred up. And it seemed obvious to me that he had been attacked by other dogs. Well, guess what? Ruby wasn't those other dogs, and we weren't those other people.
Man, I didn't even think of that.
He didn't judge us based off of that. He said, these people get a clean slate when he saw us. And I've in the past been guilty of
Same.
You know, you think about a past experience that you've had and you block somebody out based off that. Or, you know, there's been a dog that's bit you before. So if there's another dog that looks like that dog, it's going to bite you. And these are just some examples,
right?
You know, so that is a topic in lesson number 2.
I love it.
That Jack taught us. So everybody starts a clean slate. Don't judge. I'm not going to judge you based off what somebody else did to me.
Right. Even if they're, you know, so maybe it's the way a certain dress, the way that they dress, something, the way that they talk, a stereotype. You're not stereotyping people,
right?
I guess is
well, you know,
way to say it.
I think kind of, and I think like another thing too, a big example is like relationships. People think because their ex husband or wife or boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever did them wrong or cheated on them or did this thing, that now this new person's going to do it to them.
Right.
And you can't judge somebody based off that.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'm not saying that everybody is automatically good. I'm just saying that, you know, think about the opportunities that you miss out on if you shut somebody out based off what somebody else did to you.
I'm with that. Yeah.
So
I think that's great.
That's number 2, man.
I love it.
Number 3. From the outside looking in, it seemed like Jack was just a badly abused street dog whose life and future were both grim. However, shortly after meeting Jack, I realized that he lived in the present. He lived in the present moment, not in the past. He wagged his tail, played around, went for walks, loved car rides, enjoyed treats and our company despite his past and his injuries. What's the lesson here? Live in the moment. Life is too short to live in the past. Don't look back because you're not going that way.
Oh, I need that one right now.
So Jack came in, rugged past. He'd probably most likely been hit by a car, definitely been beaten, definitely been attacked by other dogs, been chained up to a post, been in the shelter, been passed by. I want to say he weighed like 40 pounds when we got him. I think is the number that comes to mind. He gained, I think, like 15 pounds in the 2 months that we had him.
Wow.
And he was still needing to put some weight on. The dude was like a skeleton. He didn't care. He didn't think about that. He
living for the moment.
He lived for a moment. When I would walk in the door from work and he would get his starved ass with his broken leg up out of his bed and come meet me at the door with his tail wagging. I'm like, dude, you can't even walk good. You just came all the way across the house to meet me at the door. So Jack didn't look back, dude. He wasn't going back. He didn't care about that. And there's a huge lesson there.
I think that's huge because, man, I'm one of the worst about reminiscing on the past, thinking about what happened yesterday or what happened last time I did this action.
Thriving on it too much.
Yep. And then, or letting it hold you back from, you know, taking that next step forward.
Right.
You know, because we're all going to face obstacles, right?
Yep.
But we can't let...
Think about the obstacles that dude.
The outcome that the last obstacle gave us, maybe it wasn't the outcome that we were looking for. So now we don't try the next one. Yeah. Huge issue.
So Jack wasn't bitter, dude. Jack didn't, he didn't hold any grudges. He hopped up we got in the car. We went to the park. We walked. He didn't show aggression towards anybody or any other dogs. He was happy, dude. He wasn't living in the past. He was living now, despite everything he'd been through. So don't look back.
That's great.
That's number 3. So number 4, when we took Jack in, we had 0 fostering experience. We had no idea how he'd act in our home, how he'd treat us, how he'd treat our dogs, or how we would logistically handle having 3 dogs with our lifestyle. We're out of town a lot. We work a lot. So it's tough. 3 dogs. And, you know, we don't know if he would even get along with them. So we got to keep them all separate, you know. But Jack needed help. So we took him in anyways. There are 2 lessons here. First, help others and be kind. Kindness goes a long way. You never know who has had a rough time or how your kindness may impact somebody. Second, take chances in life. Quit worrying about what might go wrong and start thinking about what could go right. taking chances can produce beautiful outcomes.
Man, that one really touches me because so often we focus on the negative and then don't think about what the positive outcome could be. And this is totally irrelevant, but for some reason it just popped into my head. I was just on Facebook the other day and
Mistake.
yeah, that was mistake number one for sure. But I saw, and it was very good. It was like a meme or whatever, you know, or a photo of Albert Einstein, and he was doing multiplication. It said like 1 times 9 equals 9, 2 times 9 equals 18, 3 times 9 equals 27. He gets all the way to the bottom at like 9 times 9 and purposely misses by 1. And everybody just freaks out. And he's like, you see that? I did 8 right and nobody said anything. I do 1 wrong.
Yeah.
And everybody flips. So kind of the same thing. Instead of thinking about all the things that you could do right, we constantly worry about the one thing that could go wrong.
Well, you focus on the potential negative outcome,
Right.
And it gets way too much of your attention. I'm not saying that you should be irrational and just go, oh, well, this could, bet $1 billion
don't go put
red
a million,
15
about
on the
to say $1 million on red.
Yeah, at the casino. But all too often, the analysis paralysis, people don't make any moves in their life and they don't take chances because they're so scared of what could possibly go wrong,
Right.
that they just stay within that comfort zone and they're not really happy there.
And going back to your previous lesson, they're thinking about something they did wrong 10 years
past.
ago, 5 years ago, and they're like, man, I can't do this new thing. Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Give yourself a clean slate.
You can do it.
Yep.
Clean slate like Jack gave me. I didn't really deserve it. I didn't do anything to deserve it.
You didn't do anything specific
Yeah.
to deserve
it.
Right.
But guess what? It gave me clean
You
slate.
fulfilled.
I fulfilled. And,
Yep.
So don't quit worrying about all the negative things and start and move forward.
Yeah.
Think about what could go right. Give that at least some of the attention. If you split it 50-50, I'll bet you the good outweighs the bad as far as, I guess, probability.
Right.
Of happening, right? I mean,
Well, if you, not to change the subject matter or the lesson here, but if you give it time and actually try for a long enough period of time,
yeah. Absolutely. So you got to be realistic too.
Right.
So yeah, that was number 4. Number 5. When Jack passed, it broke our hearts, to say the least. It was easy to be sad and think about how terrible. So this is kind of the root
Okay.
so listen, hear me out. When Jack passed, it broke our hearts, to say the least. It was easy to be sad and think about how terrible the situation was and how we wish there was a different outcome. But shortly after, I made an effort to shift my perspective. This is kind of what I talked about in the beginning. I made an effort to shift my perspective and thought about how fulfilling it was to show him true love and happiness before he passed away. Additionally, I started considering how much I learned from this little dude in such a short amount of time. What's the lesson here? Life is defined by the perspective you view it from. Seeing the negativity in certain situations is generally the easier option. Most people, myself included, definitely, will laser focus on the pain or negativity first, kind of what we were talking about a second ago. But if you dig deep and account for all the blessings and lessons learned, you'll often be overcome with gratitude. I'm forever grateful for our Jack and the short time we had with him. Basically what you and I just discussed. It's basically what you and I just discussed, but one thing I want to point out in this one is life is defined by your perspective. Whatever you pound into your brain and you tell it to find, it's going to find. If you want to find the sadness and the heartbreak and the negativity, your brain's going to go find it for you.
Yep. And I don't remember this book, the name of it, but I read a book a few years ago that was discussing perception versus reality. And at the end of the day, the answer was perception is reality.
Yep.
They in time become the same thing.
Your perception is your reality.
That's
Your
right.
brain's going to find it.
Exactly. Yeah. In time, your brain will align those two things.
Yes. Whatever you constantly, stress about, think about, your brain's going to find it. So if you step back and it was tough to step back away from this situation and try to find the positives. In the beginning, it was horrible. I just wanted to be sad. I missed my dog. And guess what? Whenever I started telling my brain to find all the good things, dude, it just started. It was overwhelming.
Yeah, I was about to say, they start pouring to you.
I couldn't type fast enough.
Uh-huh.
I was like, oh, wow. And dude, when I typed all this out in the matter of this, probably this final draft. Okay, so let me back up. All the ideas were probably within like a day or two. I typed the ideas out, and then I modified it for
over time,
over a few weeks, right? Like I said in the beginning. So this is kind of a few weeks of work here, but the initial thoughts and gratitude and lessons were kind of dumped out on the page within a day or two. My brain was just going and going and going. It was finding those things that I was looking for. So life is perspective. Your perspective is your reality.
That's right.
And I believe that to be true, definitely, because your brain's going to go get it.
Yeah, and like this morning, I was in a really bad headspace. We were talking a little bit before, and it's crazy how just a simple thought can get your heart pounding.
Oh yeah,
that's what was going on with me this morning. Just thinking about this situation that I have to deal with, heart racing, you start sweating,
upset,
and
or distraught.
Because
I guess
I perceived it as a hard thing, but now I'm looking back, I'm like, the hell is wrong with me?
It's really not that hard.
Yeah, but that was my perception in that moment in time, which became reality.
Your brain made it real.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. So your perspective is your reality. I think so perspective is reality is a good statement, but I think your perspective is your reality.
Yeah, that's a better way to say it.
Because you and I can look at two different things and perceive it differently.
That's right.
Your perspective is going to make it real for you. Mine's going to make it real for me.
That's right.
So that was number 5. Number 6. When Jack came to us, this is one of my favorites. When Jack came to us, his femur had been... So let me give you a little story. His leg, when we got him, his leg was not actively broken. It had been broken years back and just healed like that. So he basically had a peg leg. His back right leg was 2 inches shorter than the left, and it was stiff. It didn't bend. So even if he was laying down, sitting, his leg was straight.
Yeah,
standing, his leg just dangled.
Right.
So he didn't get around very well. He got better with time. So when Jack came to us in the past, his femur had been shattered and fused back together solid with no bend in the knee. He couldn't walk. He couldn't hardly stand up well when we got him, but he couldn't walk well, let alone jump. As time went on, he began walking better, and then he even started running occasionally. Later, I noticed that every time we headed for the car, he loved car rides. And go on a car ride? You want to go for a ride? Jack's about that life. Don't fuck with Jack on the car rides, dude. He's about it. He will go for a ride, no matter what time. So later, I noticed that every time we headed for the car, he attempted to jump into the back seat as if he knew he was capable of making it. Although he wanted to try, I always assisted him as to not further injure him. I picked him up, put him in the car. But he would always, when I would open the door, he would try to slip past me and like he was going to jump up. And you ain't getting in there. Yeah. So I just stopped him and I'd pick him up, put him in the seat. So although he wanted to try, I always assisted him as to not further injure him. Then one day, I would think I was actually on the phone. So I had the leash in one hand, the phone in the other. And I'm pretty sure. So then one day, I was on the phone. I went to go take Jack for a ride. I was on the phone. I'm adding those two parts in. And when I opened the car door, I wasn't paying attention to Jack on his leash. He was behind me. Well, he had backed up, started running, and leapt into the back seat before I realized what was even happening. The fucker made it. I was on I think I had it on speaker, and I opened the door, and I just had the leash. Yeah, I had the leash looped around my arm, and he was back behind me. And when I opened the door and I went to turn to get him,
right in there.
He jumped right up in there. Yeah. So he backed up, started running, and leapt in the back seat before I realized what was happening. What's the lesson here? Always believe in yourself and never place limits on yourself. You just might even surprise yourself and others one day. Jagged it. Every time we went for that car, he was trying to
He's going for it.
We went to get in my truck. He's going for it. I'm like, okay, you can't even. You definitely can't make it. Because he wasn't even as tall as like the bottom of the truck. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like but I promise you, he was going to try.
Yeah.
So that's pretty straightforward. Believe in yourself, dude. Jack tried every single time to jump into that seat. So don't place limits on yourself, man.
And even if you do fail, like he didn't make it a few times, but that one time you do.
Yeah. So,
makes it all worth it.
You know, too many people are scared of, again, back to this being scared of failure, and they're thinking about how they probably won't make it instead of they probably will make it, or what happens if they do make it, you know? And Jack didn't think about that. He never thought
All
for a second.
forward.
Yeah, he never thought for a second he wasn't going to make it. So y'all believe in yourselves, all right? And it sounds kind of cliche, but it's the truth.
Yeah.
All right. That was number 6. So number 7, I'm going to try not to get a little choked up on this one.
Take your time.
All right. Lucas, if I cry, edit it out and make my biceps bigger. Unfortunately, we only had 2 months with our Jack. While we had hopes of a long life and a bright future, the reality is that our time was cut short very quickly and with almost no warning. So Jack went from, we noticed something wasn't quite right, to being put down within a matter of a few days, probably like a week. We kind of noticed something was wrong, but we thought, you know, I mean, he wasn't like in a lot of pain or anything, but he just seemed
Something was off.
He seemed kind of off.
Yeah.
Like, maybe a week before. And then like the night before, he seemed like he was in a lot of pain, and he was very uncomfortable. So we took him to the vet that next day, and that's when we had to put him down. So it happened fast, dude.
Right.
Like, it was, you know, it wasn't like he had, you know, cancer for 3 years or something that, you know, we saw coming, right? Which isn't any easier, but it's different. So reality is that our time was cut short very quickly and with almost no warning. What's the lesson here? Don't take anything, especially time and your loved ones, for granted. Tell people you love them, hug them, call friends and family that you haven't talked to in a while, lift each other up, and don't leave anything on the table, because you never know how many more chances you will have, or when time will run out. Make no mistake, the clock's ticking for everybody. That's just reality. People don't want to think about it. It's real. You know,
it's just another reason to not, I guess, sit around and dread in your sorrows. Like, reach out, you know, talk to people, take advantage of your time on earth. Yeah. The life that you have.
Take advantage of the time you have. You know, some people hold grudges, you know, and they let that take time away from them. You know, I personally, you know, I'm not going to get into details, but some family members that held a grudge against another family member. And then all of a sudden when he died,
now they're like,
you know, I loved him so much. I shouldn't have, you know, not talked to him for X amount of years, and I shouldn't have said these rude things.
How many times you heard that story from?
A lot of times, dude. It's very real to me because it happened in my family. But you never know, dude. So Jack went from literally our dog, like our family member, to putting him down. So realistically, it happened within a few days. You know, and you know, that can happen with people, you know. I mean, you know, not to get too deep, I lost my dad in a car accident. You know, one day he's fine and perfect, and the next day he's in an accident, gone, just like that. So, man, you know, be kind to your family, dude. I mean, look, not everybody's, or nobody's perfect, right? You're gonna have little arguments and disagreements, but the people that you love and you care for, cherish them, man. Hug them, tell them you love them, call them, text them. You know, get together with them when you can, and just live like that. Don't leave anything on the table, because, you know, your chances are going to run out. Your time will run out.
Right.
Everybody's going to die. Everybody's dog's going to die eventually, right? I don't know. Nobody knows what order, right? God knows what order, but nobody on earth knows what order, right? So just take those chances, man. So that Jack just really, that was something that I already kind of felt, you know, with things that have happened in my past, but like that he
kind of opened up a little bit more.
Yeah. It just really made me cling, you know, square back up with reality. You know, reality is that's how it works. That was number 7. Number 8. And this one's kind of more of a, I was somebody who didn't really, you know how important this was. And I don't think it's something that's really talked about enough, but more people should get involved with. So lesson number 8, I could go on and on, and I have much more to say about Jack. What's one of the most important lessons of all here? Adopt, rescue, volunteer, foster, and donate when you can. There are thousands of dogs like Jack in the world waiting for their opportunity to be rescued, to be rescued, to love, and to be loved. Waiting for their opportunity to teach and be taught. Give them a chance at life. I guarantee it will give you fulfillment and warm your heart. Who knows? Maybe you'll learn a thing or two. So, and then here's my closing statement before I get into my hashtags. And it's very simple. Bottom line, the world would be a much better place if we were all a little more like Handsome Jack Jack. And I think that's true. Everybody was a little bit more like Jack. Mm-hmm. The world would be a little bit better place. So that's something that's been weighing on me, man. Those topics, that page has been, that note
Sure.
has been evolving, been deleting some stuff, adding some stuff. It's been being edited for a while. Mm-hmm. But that's what it turned into when I stepped back. I tried to shift my perspective to gratitude. I started finding things I was grateful for. They started spewing out onto the page. And when I started, because, I still get down and out. It hasn't even been a month. I start to get down and out about it a little bit. I get into my notes and I read about it. And I just think about all the good that came. 2 months with a stray dog.
Yeah. And
that's what it really was. I spent 2 months with a stray dog, and that's what I got out of it.
And I think that to tack on a little bit is just, you can do this with any scenario probably in your life. Mm-hmm. This is one that just really hit you hard.
Yep. Everybody's got their different heart.
Got you really thinking. This is where your heart is, But in all aspects of your life, every situation you go through every single day that has some type of emotional swing, you can take some type of lesson. And you can dig as deep as you did and write them down in your phone and work on them for weeks. Or you can take 10 seconds to realize, hey, this thing happened. Here's my personal feedback on myself and what I think about the situation. Learn something from it and move on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, everybody's different, right? Everybody, I guess, grieves differently. Everybody perceives differently, but your perception is going to be your reality. So work on your perspective, change your perspective, fix your thoughts, tell your brain, what to go after, man. And it'll go find it. So that, I don't know. That's just been something that's been weighing on me. Phil had no idea that we were going to get into this.
Well, you've been telling me about it for probably a couple of weeks.
Well, I've been telling you I want to do the show.
Yeah.
But I haven't told you,
right,
what I was going to go into. Mm-hmm. So, and the viewers at home have probably noticed that I'm back in the captain's chair. I got microphone number 1.
Looks good on you, man.
I got the American flag behind me. Mm-hmm. The American flag hat that doesn't match the shirt.
Kind of.
Jessica told me about that earlier. She's like, it's even worse that you don't match because it almost matches. And I agree. Like when something almost matches, but not quite, that's even worse. But
I don't know, man.
The way
I'd count it.
The American flag is kind of like camouflage. You can just wear it with anything. You know how
true.
Like the NFL teams on for Veterans Day, they'll wear like a camouflage gloves with their regular uniform and it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the American flag.
American flag can do anything. It is the
I think they, I don't know, man. I'm counting it.
American flag goes with everything, dude.
I'm counting it.
Phil's counting it.
Yep.
So yeah, man, that's what I want to talk about today. And we don't have to dig on it anymore. We've been going at it for 41 minutes and 40 seconds.
Whoa.
Something like that.
Didn't seem like it.
I
think those are all really great things. Obviously each one is its own topic.
Little food
we
for
just
thought.
kind of touched on each one. I don't think that these things are really probably more valuable the less that you hear external opinions on them. Mm-hmm. To be totally honest with you, I just thought about this. The less that you and I say about these topics, the better off probably, because these are topics that you need to think about for yourself.
Yep.
Obviously, I can listen to your opinion and you can listen to mine, and maybe we take a little bit away from each other. But at the end of the day, the more time you spend 10 minutes with yourself.
Yep.
On each one of these versus listening to what I have to say about it for 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do that, I think you might even get more out of it.
Yeah. Well, when people dig within themselves, it'll in these types of situations, it can be a lot more, I don't want to use the word fulfilling, but it can do a lot more for you whenever you figure out when you figure out what this looks like for you.
For you.
Yeah.
Yeah, not what it looks like for Darryl or what it looks like for Philip, but what it looks like for you.
Yeah, it will do a lot more for you whenever you get that figured out, whenever you dig deep in yourself and you think about those things. So I didn't want to get like mushy or sad on the OTG podcast, which is the greatest of all time. Like, subscribe, share with your friends. Come into the gym, get trained, call OTG _ Lucas at One Perfect Shot for all your needs, social media and content needs. But yeah, man, I didn't want to get too deep and create, but it's something that I've been wanting to talk about. And what better platform than to sit down with a microphone and a camera and put it out there for anybody who wants to see it.
I think this is probably my favorite episode.
Yeah. This is a good one, man. And I'm going to get OTG _ Lucas to clip in some pictures of Jack, dude.
Yes.
Because Jack, that dude was a fucking stud.
He was.
Very handsome. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, man. Bottom line, the world would be a much better place if we were all a little more like Jack. So we're going to go out on that note. Share, like, subscribe, tell your friends. But most importantly, be more like Jack.